Welcome home to USA Global TV and Radio. Ours is a place where dreams take flight, voices are heard, and stories are shared. This is where cultures meet, connections are formed, and ideas are transformed into action. This is your destination for authentic storytelling, diverse perspectives, and meaningful conversations. We're where global stories unite and bridges are built beyond all borders. Discover our world of education, entertainment, hope, and inspiration. Together, we're building bridges worldwide. Subscribe to our USA Global TV channel and download our USA Global TV app. Be our guest or join our team. Visit usaglobaltv.com. With heartfelt thanks to our executive producer, Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck, music scored by Yifei Tang from Cloud Road Music, creative direction by Paul Garcia, and I'm Al Cini, and I'm very proud to be part of the USA Global TV and Radio family. So join us here at USA Global TV and Radio. Make us your home for global connection. All rights reserved. This video and its contents are the exclusive property of USA Global TV and Radio. Unauthorized use, duplication, or redistribution in any form is strictly prohibited. Thank you for being a part of our global community. Let's inspire together.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to Judgment, the Hidden Sin. I'm Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck here on USA Global TV and Radio, and our show today is brought to you by Profit for Teams, Mr. Al Cini and Lisa Manioki. Thank you so much. So today we are going to be talking more about judgment, and I do have a very special announcement. I'm going to share my screen. So I just published this book, Holy But Harmful, The Silent Sin of Judgment, actually yesterday, How Hidden Judgments Destroy and Damage Lives. And today I woke up to this beautiful news. And it is basically that the book is number 4 on the Amazon bestsellers. Here it is. And it's also number 3 in new releases. So I put my heart and soul into this book, and that's really the basis for this particular show. So we've got a wonderful guest today. We're going to be talking about nuggets of hope and kindness. Our guest has been on some of our other programs, and she's an author, and she's also a podcast host herself. Her name is Kim Lengling. Hopefully I got that right. Kim, welcome to the show. Good to see you.
Oh, you got it perfect. Thank you so much. It's so lovely to see you again.
Thank you. Thank you. It's so nice to be here with a fellow broadcaster. I love it. What's your experience been?
Well, I've been doing it. This is my 5th year with the podcast, and I just continue to learn as I go. And my experience has been actually wonderful. I have met, and I'm sure as you have, amazing, truly amazing people from all over the world. And it's just been blessing after blessing.
I have to say that is probably one of the greatest gifts, is that we get to meet people from all over the world and we don't have to go anywhere. Although what I've been doing this past, the last 6 months, is I'm actually traveling to places and meeting people who believed in me from the beginning, which is really kind of cool to actually give somebody a hug or shake their hand and say, thank you so much for being there.
Yeah. How awesome.
It's amazing. So we're talking about judgment today, and judgment comes in many different forms. And what I found through my research is that sometimes judgment is in ways that we had no idea. For example, passive aggressive behavior, or bringing up the past and throwing it in someone's face is filled with judgment. And just everyday comments like, you look great for your age. And that's, kind of like, wow, you had me at hello, and then you had to go. Right. So what has been your experience in judgment? What stands out for you the most when you feel like, wow, I was really being judged, or I was the one judging?
We've all been there. We've all been judged or the one judging. I have found, and I've recognized over the years, that I am guilty of judging myself harshly, more so than others. I'm in a certain season of my life. That's how I like to say, a certain season of my life that I don't care what anyone thinks about me. I don't care what their opinions are. I know who I am, and I know my worth, and I know what I'm doing and where I'm going. But over the years, judgment, yeah, you do take it at different. I think it's much more powerful at different parts in your life. As a younger person, I took it harshly, and I would respond in the same manner. I would immediately become defensive. And, so many those little digs. That's why I always used to call them, oh, you're getting a little dig, getting a little poke in there, poking the bear. And I would poke right back. And now I just kind of let it roll off because it's not worth my energy. And I figure, and I'm guilty of judging too. And when I do, I ask for forgiveness, or I try and catch myself and say, oh, that sounded so judgmental. I am so sorry. But back in the day, it was like, I'm just going to throw it right back in your face. You're going to mess with me. That's kind of how I was, And at times I'm still like that, but I know when to bite my tongue, because the judgment that comes from others, that's their issue. So if someone's judging me, that's not my problem. That's their problem. That's how I look at it now.
I love that. Thanks for sharing that. And the fact that you brought up judgment about yourself is so important, because it really does start with us. I know I find myself calling myself names like, you're so stupid or idiot. Why did you do that? And I live alone, so I talk out loud sometimes. It's funny. I was just at the gym yesterday, and this woman was in the corner talking to herself. And I thought, okay, she probably lives alone. I thought, I get it totally. I wasn't judging. But it is hard. I know recently someone said to me, when I'm I wish you wouldn't wear your pearls because I feel like I'm with my grandmother. And I thought, that's interesting. I wish I was with my grandmother. Actually, I wish she was still here so I could spend time with her. But it's those kind of comments that you wonder what is under the surface of that. So you just brought up a good point when you said it's usually about the other person. Can you elaborate on that?
I've found that unhappy people judge the most. That's just been my experience. I know when I'm unhappy, I find myself judging other people. I'll be like, what are they laughing so much for? I mean, it's just ridiculous. And then I catch myself now. But I have found that, at least in my experience, if someone's going through a trial of some sort, they might be going through something tough, heavy, traumatic injury, a traumatic experience of some sort, the loss of a loved one, the loss of a spouse, divorce, loss of a job, whatever it is, grief, whatever it is someone might be going through that brings them down and can have them unhappy for a part or a season in life. Coming from that spot, it's hard to look out at the world with hope and kindness when you're in that spot. And I think that folks that are in those spots, they have a tendency to judge more just because that's what they're feeling. And it might not be personal. They might not even realize they're doing it. I know I've been in that spot where I haven't realized I've been judging, and then I'll stand back and go, oh, Kim, what are you doing? Just because you're in a crappy situation or you're having a crap day, don't look at others and bring them down, So I do bite my tongue a lot. And I'm looking at that as a kind of growth. I'm growing. I'm not blurting out, stuff I would have said maybe 20 or 30 years ago.
Agreed. Well, you mentioned that you're in a certain season of your life, and I'm in a certain season too. I don't know if we're in the same seasons or not, but we're definitely in the same space where we're really more aware of things and less concerned about what others are thinking. I know for me, and I've shared this before, but I'm part of the Census Bureau. They've come around. And it's the first time I've ever participated here in the States. And I basically had to go through how many hours I work. And it turns out I'm usually working 91 hours a week. And I get a lot of judgment from people like, all you do is work and work out. Well, I love what I do. I mean, I'm so happy. Wouldn't you want that for me to be happy? That's what I want for you. But yet somebody will look at it and say, there's something wrong with her.
Yeah. Yeah. I see. I truly believe it's that judgment comes from a place of unhappiness.
Yes, I agree with you. And you've seen a lot. You've seen a lot in your life. If I recall, you're a veteran and you have a pretty amazing story. Would you like to share that with our audience?
Um, okay.
The part that I think relates to judgment, maybe, that really, because
Okay, we'll go with that then.
Yeah.
When I was in the military, and this is back, it's been a hot minute. It's been a hot minute. When I was in the 80s, females in the military were still not really welcomed, and it wasn't the norm. And so I was judged on a daily basis from male counterparts. And that was very obvious from day one out of basic training. And that made things a bit difficult. Now things have changed a bit over the years, but I know I'm not the only female at that time who went through some harassment. Mine turned into more than harassment, and it turned into a traumatic event, which I'm not going to share the details today. But the judgment part in the being a female in the military at that time was pretty heavy. It was pretty heavy, and you had to have a thick skin. And every day I'd be like, "All right, Kim, suck it up. Pull up your big girl panties. You're in the military now, and you gotta let that stuff go." Today, in today's world, it would have many, many titles to it of what I went through. But back then, you just toughed it out and you did the best you could, and you became stronger for it. My experience. But there was a lot of judgment back then. My niece is now currently a captain in the Army, and she's thriving. And it has changed a lot since I was in, because I was actually worried about her when she went in. And I needn't have been, because she's ridiculously strong and independent and is in charge of many people, so to watch how the things have changed over the years, but judgment still exists, in the military, in civilian life, it still exists. I don't think that's something that's ever going to go away. But my experience, the most judgment I ever received was while I was in the military.
Well, thanks for taking us back there. I know it's not always easy to look back, and that's another thing about looking back when it comes to judgment. Based on my research, is that people will use something that happened in the past against us, which is also part of judgment. And for our audience, Kim has no idea what I'm going to be asking her, because I have no idea what I'm going to be asking her. I just follow where the conversation goes. There's no script. So this is all real and it's all authentic. So you mentioned that there's been a shift and that you were concerned for your niece, but she's thriving and everything is going well. Was there a time when you thought of going and sharing your concerns in a way that could have been judgmental?
Ooh,
Do.
good question. You know what? I've probably done that. I probably have done that. That because of my experience, one experience out of the time that I was in, it was one experience that it's amazing how a few hours of something really big and traumatic happening in your life can shape how you view the world for the rest of your life. And I have to remind myself, looking back from where I'm at today, that those few hours don't define who I am, and don't take that negativity and share it and throw it out on the world because it's just dark. And I know that I did years ago, because I was at a place of anger and bitterness and hurt and feeling unworthy and feeling like they wanted me to feel like nothing. And when you come from that spot, yeah, I know that I used my experience as judgment talking to others back in the day. I've since learned and grown, and I can look back now, having educated myself and going through therapy, with a VA counselor. And I highly recommend that, folks. If you need help, please reach out to someone. Don't think you have to suck it up like I did for so many years, because it will come out eventually. But yeah, to answer your question, yes, I did use my experience to judge others.
Well, how brave of you and courageous of you to share that. Thank you so much, because we all do it. And part of the reason why I started this show in alignment with the book is because I want us to be aware of when we're judging. I mean, we're human beings. This is part of nature. But if we can all become more aware of when we're doing it and maybe stop ourselves and say, wait a minute, is it kind? Is it necessary? Is it true? right? And I know you're big on hope and kindness, which we'll get to as well. Then maybe we should say it, or maybe we shouldn't say it, because what's the outcome going to be? Are we going to make someone feel uncomfortable? Are we putting a wedge between us and someone else? Are you using it, not you, a person? Is a person using it as leverage? Are they using it as a power tool? There are a lot of times in professional settings, someone who's in charge might use their authority to undermine someone else. And there can be ways of doing this that are obviously not the appropriate, not the best, but also filled with judgment. So that's what I'm hoping people will take away from the show today, because I've judged, you just said you've judged, we all do, but let's be more aware of when we're doing it, if it's possible.
Well, I mean, look at the world today. All you have to do is watch the news. And it's nothing but judge, 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 war, war, war. Where do you think all that stuff starts from? Judgment.
Exactly.
It's like a plague.
It's true. Part of why I started this journey was someone said to me that because I had stopped going to church, that God didn't know me or love me. And I thought to myself, that's very interesting. Does it state that in the Bible? So I started doing a lot of research, and I started meeting with clergy people. I'm also a peace ambassador. So I started asking other peace ambassadors. I was Maslow's hierarchy of needs, all these things, and putting them together. And so the reason I bring it up is because someone can make a statement about you or to you that is completely based on their own upbringing or their own thoughts. So because someone might believe in something so strongly, and maybe in their mind, they're thinking, oh, I want the best for you. But what they're doing is they're putting their set of values onto you, and you're supposed to go, okay, that's great. Now I realize that I'm not loved. So I guess I'll go figure out how to get loved,
And that's scary, because there's a lot of very vulnerable people that would take that judgment on and accept it as true. Now, I personally don't and won't, but there's a lot of vulnerable people out there. And I think that's why you see a lot of these strange groups happen. Like the only first thing that's popping in my head is Waco. If you remember that back in the day. I mean, these cults and stuff, those people were very vulnerable, and they were believing what they were told. For me, my own self, because that's all I can speak for is myself. I educate myself as best I can. Like you said, you're like, well, is that in the Bible? And you started talking to clergy, and you started talking to all these other people. To me, the church is not a house. It's not a building. It's the people. Where two or more are gathered, I am there. That's from the Bible. So the church are the people. That's the church. That's how I was taught. That's what I've learned by reading the Bible and stuff like that. But educate yourself. That's what I've done for myself. And I'm so glad that you brought that up, that you said, I went and did this, and I did this, and I did this. Because I never want to accept something, and I don't think I ever have accepted something blindly, or I've never blindly followed. I'm not a sheeple. That's what I say. I'm just not going to be a sheeple, part of the sheeple. So yeah, I educate myself just like you did. I think that's awesome that you shared that. So thank you. So I'm not the only one out here.
Thank you. I appreciate you saying that, because to me, I am very curious, and I like to hear what other people's perspectives are. Somebody told me when I was younger, I would be great on the debate team. I don't like to debate. I like to hear other perspectives. I'm really interested in how other people live and how they make their decisions. And so when that person said that to me, I took that on as okay. And then I decided to write a book about it, because I thought, well, I want people to understand that judgment is everywhere. And we do have the ability to say, you know what, let me take a step back and see if that's true. So something else I wanted to bring up, where I've made a number of mistakes, is when someone gives me a referral to work with this company and work with this person, and I accept it on blind faith because I trust the person. But what I've learned is, even though I trust the person and I respect and appreciate them, that doesn't mean that they've done the research to determine if this was a good opportunity. And I'll give a case in point for those who don't know, but I had hired a company to help me get a book signing. I was working with them for other things, but to get a book signing in London. and I paid the money for the books, and I paid them for the social media. I paid them everything that had to be paid. And I went over to London, and it happened to be down the street from the bookstore. And I thought, let me go in there and see if they're ready for me on Saturday. And they knew nothing about me. And the whole thing was a scam.
Oh my.
And I've lost my money, and they don't return to demand letters, lawyers. So my point was that I didn't do the research that I should have. I just made a judgment that I trusted them. So judgment can go in another way as well. So what I'd like people to take away from that is, when someone suggests that you work with someone or that you do something, do your own research. Take a few minutes, do some research for yourself so that you can say, because ultimately we're responsible for our decisions, right?
Absolutely. And I'm so glad that you said that. We are responsible for our own decisions. It's not anyone else's fault or problem. We are responsible for our own decisions. It's like, come on, folks. We're all big girls and big boys now. We can handle it. And if you make a bad decision or a bad judgment and it's on you, own it and then move past it. I love the story that you just shared. I mean, it's awful. I don't love that it happened, but hey, trip to London, silver lining, got to go to London. Sorry. But I try and find the good in anything, which is hard sometimes. But I've been in the same situation. I didn't travel for it, but I had a similar experience regarding a book and paid money, and it's not a small amount of money. And this was years ago. And I learned a big fat lesson from that, to never do it again, and to definitely do more research, because I was given a really good spiel and I fell hook, line, and sinker for it. And then later on, months later, I'm like, Kim, you know better. You fell right into that. But now I'm also much more aware. And I think, if you start doing your research and things like that, it becomes easier to be more aware. What are your thoughts on that?
I agree with you. And I think this is a great segue into kindness and hope. So when my father was alive, we were really close, but he would say to me that I was very gullible, and he would say, you'll believe anyone. And the truth is, I want to believe everyone. I want to believe that people come from a place of kindness and of empathy and compassion. And I know that that's not true, but I still, today at 62, I still want to believe it. So how do you handle that? Because I know a lot of your platform and the work that you do is instilled in kindness and giving people nuggets of hope. So how do you mirror that, or maybe dovetail that with having, I'm going to say, common sense, which maybe I lack sometimes?
I think we all do. We're all pretty stupid sometimes. It was right at the beginning of COVID. So this is, 5-6 years, however long. Isn't it weird how we think of before COVID and after COVID time frame? But it was around that time frame where the world was just throwing fear everywhere. You couldn't turn your radio on, television on, phone on without having fear being thrown in your face. And my thought was, I'm not catching that. You're not going to make me fearful to step outside my own back door and things like that. And that's kind of when I started getting these little nudges. And I'm Christian. And so when I get those nudges, I firmly believe that they're coming from God. And I was getting these nudges saying, you got to give hope. And that was there for a long time before I did anything about it. But it kept sticking in there until the word hope started showing up everywhere. And I'm like, okay, I guess now I'm supposed to do something. And it's helped me when I say I'm interacting with someone and they've got a bit of an attitude or a bit of a tone coming at me. My first thought now, whereas before it'd be like, I don't need this crap today. Now I stop myself and think, wow, what's going on in their life today? And I try very hard not to judge, but it's getting easier the more I practice that. And if I run into people that I just get a feeling from, I'm very empathetic. And I carry these little nuggets of hope with me. They're actual nuggets of hope. And I carry them with me. So I might get a feeling from someone, or someone's just, their demeanor, how they're carrying themselves, maybe, all tense, and you're like, ooh, they're having a tough one. Ooh, I can feel that because I've been there. I know what that feeling is. And I approach them and ask them if I could give them a nugget of hope. without fail, everyone has accepted it over the last 2.5 years. They've all accepted the nugget of hope. And these are strangers. I don't know them, and I don't ask for their names. I don't ask their stories. I just get a really strong feeling they need a nugget of hope. And my doing that, mine providing a little act of kindness, whether it's complimenting a stranger, saying, "Oh my gosh, that hat is amazing," and do it sincerely, that has helped me tremendously. The more I do it, the more I want to do it, the less I judge. Kindness, being kind, can change your whole way of viewing the world. Is there really hard, dark stuff going on in the world every single day? Yes. And there always has been. And there more than likely always will be. I'm going to quote Mr. Rogers here for those folks that ever watched Mr. Rogers. When times of trouble, look for the helpers. I want to be a helper. I don't want to be part of the trouble. There's enough trouble out there. I want to be a helper.
That is absolutely beautiful. And you know what I love about it the most is what you talked about is energy, really. And I found that when we are in this positive energy where we are giving back, where you're leaving a legacy of education and hope and inspiration, and I hope that what we're doing here is leaving a legacy of education as well. It's You're drawn to people with the same energy.
Yeah.
And you find compassion and empathy for those who don't have it, because I don't want to use this word because I was not this for so long, but awakened, I guess. I don't want to say, but I really wasn't aware of how my own behavior was showing up in the world, how I was carrying myself. And so I work on that all the time. And of course, I have issues and troubles like anyone else, but I look at all the gifts. Every day that we wake up is a gift, because there are people like my mom's not here anymore. My dad's not here. I wish they were here. They're not here anymore, but I get to be here. So to me, why can't we be kind and give grace to others who are going through something really tough?
Exactly. Because everyone, if you haven't been through something tough yet, you will.
That's right. That's
We're not promised an easy life or an easy ride. And we would never learn anything if it all did come easy.
very true.
And I'm not trying to downplay anybody going through some really tough stuff. Not trying to downplay that at all. But I do like how you said you try and find the goodness around you, and there's always something to be grateful for. There is always something to be grateful for. I mean, I've been in some pretty dark spots, but you might witness a beautiful sunrise and just say thank you. That might be your nugget of hope for the day. The way a dewdrop is sparkling on a leaf, that might be your nugget of hope today. A smile from a stranger, someone holding the door for you, someone just saying hi instead of looking down at their phone and looking down at the ground and walking as quickly as they can past you. Keep your head up, your chin up, shoulders back, and smile at that stranger walking by you, because that smile for that person might change their day. You have no idea what they're going through. So giving grace like that, tossing out those little nuggets of hope, being kind. Maybe you can't change the whole world. And I say this all the time. I personally cannot change the whole world, but I, by golly, can change my small slice of the world for the better, one nugget of hope at a time. And I'm just going to keep on doing it. I don't care how cheesy it sounds. I'm going to keep on doing it.
I've never heard anything like it. I think it's incredible. I love the fact that you're actually handing out something that has hope, and then a person can carry that with them and tell the story to someone else. It's so strong in so many ways. So I just honor you for that.
I gave one of these to someone, and I gave it to them because and I knew them, and I normally don't give them to people I know. Because I just didn't, but I felt so strongly that day. And she had nothing going on in her life. I personally know her, but she called me up and messaged me a week later and said, "I'm so glad you gave me that nugget of hope, because I gave it to the person who needed it the most." And I was like, "Oh, that's why I gave it to her, because she passed it on." I mean, it's little stories like that that come back to me. I don't hear them all, obviously, because these are strangers, but a few times I've gotten private messages through Facebook or LinkedIn, and they're like, "Hey, you the hope lady?" I got one of these. And I'm like, oh, I am always so humbled. Now, it's only happened a few times. I've handed out a lot, and I don't know the people, but there's been 2 or 3 times that I've actually found out about it through other people. And it's brought me to tears. And it's humbled me so much. And then I know that that's a reinforcement. You keep on doing what you're doing. And that's coming from up there. You keep on doing this. This is what I want you to do. And you know what I've found also is I find when I am having a rough day myself, because I have them, I live with PTSD, I live life, things happen. And I have found that if I hand out a nugget of hope or I give some kindness to someone else when I'm having a bad day, that lifts my spirits. That helps me through that, helps me over that hump. So being kind is not only helping others, you're helping yourself too.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Spot on everything that you just said. And I think to your point about being in the right place at the right time or giving the nugget and ends up with someone else. I know I was at an airport for a conference and my flight was canceled. And so I had to stay at this motel that I think the Board of Health would shut down. And I was really not sure why the whole thing happened. And then waiting for the transfer the next day to go to the airport, there was a woman and she just started talking to me. And long story short, she was going through something really heavy, involved death of a relative. And she was going to go back. She had to go home first and do some things, but she wanted to go back and take everyone out. She said that she believed that her family member was killed. And I thought, oh my gosh, like I'm on a transfer going to an airport. And this woman, I thought, so I just listened. She was sobbing. She held on to me. It was probably a 20-minute ride. And I just looked at her and I said, I'm so sorry to hear what you've been going through. I can't imagine. I said, I'm actually a peace ambassador and I feel like we were put together for a reason. And if I may share with you, violence is not the answer. That's not going to bring your. And so we had this connection and she hugged me and we went our separate ways. I gave her my card and she reached out to me like a month later and she said, you really saved my life. And I thought, that's so weird. Like, because of one thing to it, like, you just don't know. It's crazy.
You don't know. you don't know who is going to be placed in your path or whose path you're going to be placed in.
Absolutely.
I was, do we have time for a short story?
Please. Yes.
Okay. This is one that just, I will never forget this. I was driving home one day from work and I had to pick up a prescription for my dog at the vet's office. And I was just tired. It was a long, very, very stressful day at work. And I'm like, no, I'll just pick it up tomorrow. I don't feel like dealing with a full waiting room full of people and animals. I'm tired and I was crabby and cranky and so I needed to take a left to go home or go straight to the vets. So I'm driving and in my head, I'm like, I can't wait to get home. This day has just been, and then I realized I went straight. I never turned. I went straight and there I was in front of the vet's office. There was no parking spots. And I'm like, it just frustrated me more. So I squeezed my little car. I had a little car at the time, squeezed it in there and I made myself a spot on their lawn. And I'm like, so I go walking in there, of course, full waiting room, animals making noises, barking, whining. They're scared to be there. All kinds of people. There's no place to sit. And the line at the window to pick up stuff was long. So I just tucked myself in a corner and stood there. I'm a people watcher. So I started watching people and watched a puppy sniffing around and pee on the floor. And I kind of chuckled by that. I'm like, good, somebody else has to clean that up. It's just my mindset. But then an older lady came in. And she, at that moment when she came in, the window opened up and she just walked right to it. And I let her. I'm like, I'm not going to rush across this room. I let her go. And she was elderly. And all I heard her say was, I would like to pay now, please. So she did. And I was curious. And then she walked back out. And then she came back in with a carrier with a cat in it. And just as she came back in, a chair opened up. So she sat down, set the carrier down on the floor. And I finally was able to get up to the window. And I heard, because she was right behind me, I heard from behind me, she goes, I have to put him down today because he has cancer. And I just set my stuff down. I'm like, doesn't matter how long I'm going to be here. I turned around, I set my stuff down on the floor beside her and I looked up at her and she was holding her cat and she was crying, heavy tears. And I looked at her and I said, would you mind if I pray with you right now? And I've never done this in public. This was a full waiting room. No one had said anything to her when she said that. No one saw her. And so I got on my knees and held her hand, and I put my hand on her cat's head. And I just did a very simple prayer saying, Father God, be with this woman today as she says goodbye to her fur baby. And I am sure that he has been a huge blessing in her life for the amount of time that he's been here. Please give her the grace and peace in the days and months to come after she says goodbye. Amen. And then I got up, and she's just sobbing. I'm trying not to cry. Got up, got my stuff, and just left. Driving home crying because I had just put my dog down a couple months before. So I knew what she was feeling. And I thought, okay, was I supposed to do that, God? Was I supposed to? And the firm answer was yes, yes, yes. I shared the story on Facebook, not for accolades or a pat on the back, but to remind people to see people in their hurt. Acknowledge that. If you can't do anything, at least let them know they're seen. And a couple hours later, I got a private message from a young lady saying, are you the lady who was in the vet's office and prayed for an older woman? And I said, yes. And she goes, that was my mom. My dad had just died 3 months before, and this cat was the last pet that they had had together. And so now she was truly going to be alone. And she was so thankful that a complete stranger came and knelt on the floor and prayed over them. She goes, so I want to thank you on my mom's behalf. I'm going to start crying.
We're going to have to, we're both going to be sobbing because I'm back here trying not to cry myself. I'm like, get it together.
But that's another way, just see people, see them, acknowledge them, let them know that they're seen in their hurt.
Absolutely. And by the way, what a beautiful gesture that you did, that you really did change her life and you made her know that you saw her. While other people might have been judging, right? Watching what's going on, judging her. Why is she crying? So the cat's dying, blah, blah, blah. You never know.
Or they were thinking, thank goodness that's not me.
Right. Exactly.
There was a lot of this. Everybody just automatically was looking at their phones.
Just hiding.
Yes.
Hiding in the phones. And we do that. How many times do you see people at restaurants? You're like, there's 4 people and they all have phones. They're not even talking to each other. They're thinking, wow, I don't know. I'm not judging. I'm just thinking, I wonder what's going on there that no one wants to talk to one another. But what you did was, what an incredible story. Thank you for sharing that, because that really is inspiring. And if you were able to be cloned by the hundreds and thousands and go out into the world, imagine what it would be like.
But you know what? Each time we toss a nugget out into that big old pond, it's causing ripples.
That's right. It is.
So just be a pebble tosser, people.
Toss those pebbles. Kim, I want you to be able to share your work as an author, because we are coming to the end, but I want you to be able to talk about your work.
I am an author. Thank you. Thank you very much. My most recent is Nuggets of Hope, and it shares a lot of the experiences of me personally handing out these nuggets of hope over about a 2-year span. But then it also shares tips and common sense, to me anyway, in there of, how to be kind and why you should be kind and what kindness actually means. It's a little book. It's just a little thin book, 5x8. You can tuck it in your purse or in your car and read it while you're waiting for the kids to get done with dance class, but I put a lot into that. And I'm kind of proud of that one. And the newest one that's coming out, it's an ebook right now. I don't have plans for it to be a paperback at this point, but it may be. But it's an ebook, and it's called 15 Ways Pets Teach Us Kindness. I'm a dog lover. I love all animals. I talk to them all. I live in the country, talk to all the animals, and I have realized that pets, they are nothing but love, and we can learn so much as humans. We could learn so much if we just paid closer attention to the animals and how they treat each other and look out for each other. And, my dogs have been companions. They've been my rock. Their fur has caught so many tears over the years. And so I wrote this book, 15 Ways Pets Can Teach Us Kindness, and it will be live and available on November 5th. You can pre-order it now, but, it's just, a short one. And at the end of each little chapter, my dog Dexter shares his wisdom on how to be kind, because, it's talking about how pets teach us kindness. he's sharing some of his wisdom with us. So that's what I've been working on lately.
That's fantastic. Let's take a look over on Amazon and see where people can order. I'm going to bring it up now. Okay. So 15 ways pets teach us kindness. More nuggets of hope. There it is.
Right
And nuggets
there.
of hope cultivate kindness. That's beautiful.
Yeah. So go and pre-order. I've been asked if it's going to be paperback. It probably will eventually, but right at this point, I just feel that it needs to be just something that's very easily, readily accessible. People can have it on their phone real quick. It's a short thing, you know. Maybe sometime it'll be turned into a paperback. I'll expound upon it. But I'm waiting for Dexter to tell me what to do because he's a big part of this book. He's a big part that wrote this book. I had to type it for him because he doesn't have thumbs, but he's a pretty smart dog.
I absolutely love that. And you're so right about animals. I know, and we're putting up your link for Amazon as well. So we will be sharing your website. But when it comes to animals, I know there's a dog. I live in an apartment building. There's a dog on this floor that I think that just moved in, and it barks a lot. And yesterday it was barking, barking. And then all of a sudden I heard like crying, and I thought, the poor thing, like, it's suffering over there. It's barking for a reason, maybe because it's unhappy or it's sick, and I guess it's, its owner isn't there. And I thought, we're so quick to judge about things, but the barking, it's a signal of something. The dog is communicating something. And so it's the same thing with people. If we take the time to stop and truly listen, just having someone be able to share whatever it is, that might totally change their life. You don't know.
That's right. I mean, it can even save someone's life.
Yes. Yes.
Because I've had a few
Absolutely.
stories of those come back to me as well, saying, well, I did this, and that person let me know that they were literally contemplating taking their own life. And I'm like, oh my gosh, thank goodness you were being a nugget of hope.
Yeah.
We never know where our kindness, how far it can reach. And there's literally no reason to not be kind. That's the way I look at it. There is no reason that anyone could ever give me to not be kind. Now, yeah, are there evil people out there and do you want to be kind to them? No, but their judgment day will come. It's not up to us. Their judgment day will come. I firmly believe that.
Thank you so much, Kim. Beautiful words. Let's take a look at your website and see what is on here. So here we are. And for anybody who is listening on a podcast platform, the website is Kim's name with author after it. So it's KIMLENGLING author, AUTHOR.com. Kim, where should we go here?
You can just scroll, and it's I made it kind of easy that way. You just scroll and it'll show, like, there's my 15 ways pets teach us kindness, your pre-order link right there. And if you keep going down, it just shows my other books and some of the testimonies and reviews that people have shared with me, which is just blessing after blessing when folks take the time to send you a message to say what your book did for them. And the same, I'm sure you've had it too. It's amazing, isn't it? It's an amazing feeling.
It is. And by the way, for those of you who are not authors out there, maybe even for some new authors, it is very difficult to get reviews because people, first of all, on Amazon, they have all kinds of requirements, but you have to spend so much money. I think it's $50 in a year. But I know myself that I've left reviews for people that don't even show up, and I never get an email that Amazon even received it. So get the book and leave a review. It's important, please.
And you can do it on Amazon, or most books are on Goodreads. Mm-hmm. Those two places are good places to leave reviews. There's Dexter. That's my dog, Dexter.
Hi, Dexter. Where's Dexter?
My office manager.
I kind of remember, does Dexter have two different color eyes?
Yes, one blue and one dark brown.
That's right. So where's Dexter now?
He's downstairs sleeping on the couch.
Oh, okay. He's not going to join us today then.
He's taking a break. He used to lay in the chair behind me. There's a chair, you can't see it, but there's a chair. He used to curl up there. And whenever I get online like this and talk out loud, he snorts, sighs, and leaves. Like like, I'm trying to take a quiet minute here. So he's watching the downstairs for me right now. So he's doing a very good job of that.
Oh, good. Glad to hear it. Kim, it's been an absolute pleasure. What would you like to leave our audience with today?
What I said earlier, it doesn't cost you a dime to be kind. And there's no reason for you not to be kind. So change your small slice of the world for the better. We can all do that. Can you imagine? If everyone did that in their small slice of the world, how different the world would be? Because being kind doesn't involve politics. It doesn't involve religion, any of those topics that might set you on edge. And some of those do set a lot of people on edge. Being kind has nothing to do with any of that. It's something that you can do not only to help yourself, but help your fellow man. And why wouldn't we want to do that? So toss out a nugget of hope. And also another reminder is you are amazing and you're here for a reason. So go out in the world and do amazing things.
I love that. What's the best way for people to get in touch with you?
Hop onto my website and go to Dexter down there. And since he's the office manager, he will check out the emails that are sent and then forward them on to me, and I can get back to you. But yeah, I love to hear from folks. If you've read the book or you just have an idea or comments or whatever. Yeah, feel free to contact me through my website down where Dexter is on the contact page.
All right. And what if people would like to be interviewed by you?
For my podcast?
Yes.
Reach out the same way. Go through there and reach out the same way, or you can message me through Facebook or on LinkedIn, whatever platform you're most on. My schedule is full for the rest of the year. I'm starting to book up into 2026, but yeah, I'd love to hear about your story and see if it would be a good fit for Let Fear Bounce.
Fantastic. And the YouTube channel is Let Fear Bounce. We have it here on the screen. All right. Thank you. It's been an absolute delight to see you again. Come back soon.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you so much for having me. This has been a true blessing. Thank you.
Thank you. I feel the same about you. I wish you well. Come see me on my other store, creating a world of possibilities.
Yeah.
All right. See you soon.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye. Please do reach out to Kim. I say that for every guest who comes here. She spent her time and energy sharing her stories and expertise. So please do reach out. I'm going to put up her contact details again. You can go to her website. As she mentioned, everything is there. Scroll down. You'll see Dexter, the office manager, and you can contact Kim and Dexter there. You get the two of them. All right, we are going to be closing out for today. So my wish is, and this is how I've been ending most of my shows, is for us to take 5 peace actions. I mentioned I'm a peace ambassador. I've had a lot of training, and I want you to seek peace within yourself and others. Okay, as we talked about today, giving grace, being compassionate. Reach out in service. And if you're thinking to yourself, I don't want to give money, I really don't want to volunteer, who is it in your life that you can lend a hand to in one way or another? And maybe it's just listening. Maybe it's putting the phone down and being present when you come home from work, whatever the case might be. Protecting the environment. We just had an incredible show on about plastics in the ocean and how this team of people got together in Greece. I'm actually going to be meeting with them next week. They actually have put together animations to teach children about ocean preservation. And we're going to be doing an event of picking up trash on beaches. So there's something we can all do. Respecting diversity. I love to see people who don't look like me, who don't sound like me, who come from other parts of the world. It's so cool. Let's be curious and be a responsible citizen of the world. Let's live our life with grace and kindness. And if something happens to us that doesn't feel right, acknowledge it. Give the person grace. We don't know what someone else is going through. And if you need help, get professional help. There are plenty of people out there. I know just on LinkedIn, someone told me, and by the way, I didn't research it, so you can research if you want, but that there's over 6 million coaches on LinkedIn. So there are people there, professional capacity for whatever it is probably that you're needing help for. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Just a cheap plug. I'd love for you to go over and pick up a copy of my book, Holy But Harmful, The Silent Sin of Judgment. It's out on Amazon in paperback and e-back. It'll be in hardback on Monday, and it'll be on in the bookstores probably next week. And there's a workbook coming after that. All right. Thank you. We look forward to seeing you for our next program. We'll see you again soon. Over to our sponsors. USA Global TV and Radio proudly presents Tracy Cram-Perkins, a dementia caregiving survivor teaching how to balance care with peace of mind. #1 resource for dementia caregivers. It's the book Dementia Home Care: How to Prepare Before, During, and After. Over 17,000 copies sold of this must-have guide. And now a testimonial from Tracy Smith.
If I was to describe this book to someone who was going through a similar situation, I would underscore how important it is to have some sort of a tool or a guidebook to help you through certain stages. And there's so many, it's such an unknown topic to the average person. And to have this as a reference is essential. It's going to help you get through it personally, as well as help your loved one manage.
To learn more, go to tracycramperkins.com.
In a world full of noise, misunderstandings, and interruptions, master the art of listening with Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck. Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck is the listening mentor of USA Global TV and Radio and the Amazon #1 best-selling author of Mastering the Power of Elevated Listening. Elevate your listening. Elevate your life. Join a global learning experience in person or via Zoom. Reserve your spot today. usaglobaltv.com/book-your-session or drjacalyn.thinkific.com. Join Dr. Kerbeck's listening courses or hire her to unlock deeper connections and authentic conversations. Thank you, viewers and listeners of USA Global TV and Radio, for joining us today. We're honored to have your time and attention as part of our global community. At USA Global TV and Radio, we believe in the power of authentic conversations, meaningful connections, and creating a world of possibilities together. Want to be part of something bigger? Join our team of elevated listeners at usaglobaltv.com, a space where your voice matters and your ability to listen transforms relationships. Stay connected with us across all our platforms for thought-provoking discussions, expert insights, and empowering stories. Subscribe to our channels at youtube.com/c/USA Global TV. Follow us on social media and explore the endless opportunities we're creating for growth, learning, and inspiration. Together, we're not just broadcasting, we're building bridges and changing lives one conversation at a time. For inquiries, contact us at info@usaglobaltv.com. Music by Johnny Dyes. Produced by Executive Producer and Director Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck. Voiceover by Mike Porter. Creative Direction by Paul Garcia. All rights reserved. Copyright 2025. Visit usaglobaltv.com to view our full terms and conditions.